By J.D. Plans, the third committee chair calls the Wednesday, September 17, 2025 business committee meeting, insurance, finance, and transportation to order. I'm retired now. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Clyde Duplantis.
Here.
Ms. Buffy Lynn Sharpenshay. Here. Ms. Tina Montan Ballard.
Thank you. Item 2, insurance. It's the budget of the day to receive a proposal for medical third-party administrators TPA services for 2025-2026 plan year as presented by Mr. Leday of Gallagher Benefits Insurance Incorporated, and take appropriate action. Mr. Buddy, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn. So this is the administrative fee to not only use the Blue Cross Blue Shield, but also have them administer the claims for you guys. So on your self-funded medical plan, there are various parts. The smallest part, making up less than 3% of the cost, is this, the administrative fee. So this is a small piece of the whole picture. The next part would be the reinsurance, which that'll be coming in a few weeks. That is a concern. We've talked about reinsurance in the past. Unfortunately, there is some bad illnesses right now ongoing that will create some lasers potentially. We're looking into all means and resources possible to try and alleviate some of that liability, but that's going to be something we need to discuss soon. The third piece and the biggest piece is the claims. So you're self-funded, so the claims are coming from you. So a lot of times, and I just want to cover this, when we talk to people and they say, well, maybe we can get a lower administrative fee from somebody else, okay? Maybe, but that's, again, less than 3% of the cost, and then you would lose the network discounts that you're getting from Blue Cross Blue Shield, which are the deepest discounts, and we've looked at that more than once. So it doesn't outweigh to go out and get a lower administrative quote if we're going to lose even 1% of claims discounts on the largest piece, which is the claims, okay? What Blue Cross Blue Shield is proposing this year is a little bit different. The costs, there are two plans. There's a PPO plan, copay plan, we call it, and high deductible. They're going up $2.15 on the plan that most everybody is in. Okay, so there'll be a slight adjustment there. This is the first time they've asked for anything more in 6 years, rather. So they've been steady for 6 years. Administrative costs are going up. They want $2.15 more. So that would go from $43.45 to $45.60. The second piece is the Blue Saver plan. We were paying $38.45 per employee per month that's enrolled on that plan, which is not a lot of people. That will go up to $49.10. Now, that's a bigger jump. It's $10.65, but there's a reason why. That had, prior to this coming year, so right now, that is what's called a carved-in pharmacy program. So people who are on the copay plan use MedImpact. People who are on the high deductible have Express Scripts, which is through Blue Cross Blue Shield. And there were reasons for that, and a lot of it had to do with integration. On high deductible health plans, there's one out-of-pocket max, there's regulations on that, so it had to be that way. They will now integrate with other pharmacy networks other than Express Scripts. So that's great. So we can get all of those people into the MedImpact program, which we've negotiated a better deal with. We just talked about that at the last meeting. In addition, the people who have really, really high cost drugs may qualify for the payer matrix program, and that has potential to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. So we feel confident that that $10 increase is going to be, actually we're going to do better than that. So it's an investment to get something in return that we feel confident will provide a positive return. So our recommendation will be to go ahead and accept this from Blue Cross Blue Shield. I never like to come with any type of increases, but we do think as a whole, we'll have enough people from the high deductible go into payer matrix to at least be awash with the increase. So any questions? I tried to be as thorough as I could in that.
Just for clarification, you said the $10.65 would be our cost, not on to the employee.
Well, you guys have all discretion you want to change their contribution. You guys have been extremely generous to not have changed that for a very long time now, a while. How long you been here, Mr. Martin? 5 years?
6 years.
6 years. So it hadn't moved since before that. These increases, it's self-funded. You guys completely determine what they contribute. Could an employer say we're gonna pass that cost to the employee? Sure. You have not. If ever you guys want to discuss changing of their contributions, that's a board discussion, and of course we would do whatever you tell us to do. So our recommendation would be to accept the Blue Cross Blue Shield proposal for 26.
You guys want to read the recommended action?
To accept the proposal of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Louisiana for medical third-party administrative TPA services for the 2025-2026 plan year, with total fees increasing from $43.45 to $45.60 on the PPO plan, and increasing from $38.45 to $49.10 on the high deductible plan, with a 3-year guaranteed issue resulting in a PPO of $2.15 and a high deductible of $10.65 per employee per month increase.
Have a motion? Mr. Charpentier, and I will second the motion. Any public comment? Any board comment? With none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous.
And very briefly, guys, I just want to touch on what we're looking at right now. I mentioned those lasers. There are programs just like Payer Matrix on these high-cost drugs that we can get some assistance on. We're looking at a company right now that could potentially provide a service to the employees to look and see if there's any other benefits out there, government programs. Sometimes somebody might have an illness that qualifies them for Medicare, and they could get it prior to retirement age. But people don't know what they don't know. So we're looking at a program that can help some folks look at other options. In some cases, somebody with a severe illness may qualify. And we want them to get the best coverage they can. They wouldn't pay for it, so they'd save some money. But that might be a person with $1 million claim that we can help get some other type of coverage, and it saves the district that $1 million. That's not the purpose of it. It's to help the employee, but if it can, everybody can win from it. That's what we're kind of looking into, similar to Payer Matrix. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Levin.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to finance, item 3A, to consider entering into a service agreement for grass cutting services. Mrs. Fontaine.
As you're aware, last year we did award a new contract through RFP process for grass cutting services. It was divided into North, Central, and South. So I come before you to ask permission if we can award the northern sites to a for grass cutting services.
Recommended action is to approve entering into a service agreement with Quarry Contracting Group for grass cutting services for the Northern Lafourche Parish site.
Do I have a motion? Mr. Charpentier, second by myself. Any public comment? Any board comment? If none, I ask you to, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Item B, to consider authorizing employee stipend pays utilizing the state appropriation funding for the 2025-2026 fiscal year as presented by Chastity Email, Executive Director of Business Services.
Again, this year, the state legislature passed on funding for staff stipends in the amount of $2,000 per certificated employee and $1,000 for support staff. We're asking you to consider approving and Consider approving not only the $2,000 and $1,000, but $500 for our part-time employees, based upon the criteria listed in the memo. The anticipated date of distribution would be the Friday before Thanksgiving, as these funds do have to be expended before December 15th, 2025. So we are recommending that you approve authorizing employee stipends pays utilizing the state appropriation funding for the 2025-2026 fiscal year as presented by myself.
A motion by Mrs. Charpentier, second by myself. Any public comment? Any board comment?
I have a question.
Yes.
And we ran into that problem last year. At home, and an employee had reached out to me. I think Mr. Jerry had cleared it up. And she was a summer employee. I think she had missed her day over the summer last.
So this is not the attendance stipend. Those were actually funded with remaining ESSER funds, and so it was truly based on attendance. The employees will have to be hired on or before October 1st. And it does state that they have to work at least 20 hours per week during the year if they're part-time.
I think she had missed one day. So she missed one day.
So for
week.
that particular stipend, because she missed a day and she was part-time, and we were issuing it for work for such a short period of time, it was if you missed a day, you did not get the stipend.
And just to be clear, Mr. Wright, that particular stipend, while obviously it looks very similar to this one, it was a completely separate funding source. I don't know if that was ESSER money that had separate rules attached to it on how we could distribute it. So when we requested, the way we requested it wouldn't have allowed that distribution. This one will allow that distribution. Is that
Right. This one is just kind of an average of the 20 hours that they have to work.
You gotta do the 20 hours.
but missing a day would not
Okay.
be a problem for this?
Larry?
I just want, and the $500 that would be covered from our general fund?
Correct.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So the state gave us money for $2,000 and $1,000 for only full-time employees. What you're doing for your part-time employees out of your own pocket, just so that we have some equity amongst our employees, because many of these quote part-time hourly people, they're in our buildings every day.
Correct. That definitely spreads goodwill and it goes far. Glad we're doing that.
Any other board comments or questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Item C, to consider recommending revisions to the 2025-2026 salary schedule as presented by Chastity Email, Executive Director of Business Services.
So what this particular item is doing is, when we came to the board on May 7th, or when the board approved the salary schedule on May 7th, we realized that there were a few items that needed to be cleared, or we found some items that were missing. So what this is doing is addressing those issues. And on page 5, the 182 teacher salary schedule, we're simply adding a position that was added during the 2025-26 budget. So it was not listed when we originally presented. On page 11 to the 230 day schedule, we are correcting the title of a position as indicated, and then we are adding the coordinator for intervention, related services and compliance, and SPED early childhood and child search. Page 12, the 240-day teacher schedule, we are removing the special education early childhood coordinator because we did move it to the 230-day schedule. Page 14 deals with our coaches. Mr. Martin has the ability to add coaches and club sponsors if needed, and so wrestling was added as a tier 2 sport, and the head coach lost an index of 0.090. We are also correcting the note that I had overlooked. All of the tier 2 coaches went from 0.060 to 0.090, so I corrected that. I had not caught that. And then we are removing the continual uninterrupted service for Sept coaches, which are our part-time coaches, because we did change them from being paid on a very low salary schedule to being paid on step 0 of the teacher salary schedule. So that's what we're doing with that. On page 16, we are adding esports to middle school clubs at an index of 0.0075. Page 24, we removed the pupil appraisal 230-day schedule because we no longer have anyone on that particular schedule on it. We don't have plans to use it. Page 30, the IT schedule, I just simply referenced down at the bottom schedule the actual titles of the columns of the salary schedule. Page 31 and 32 for child nutrition, there was an oversight when columns 6 and schedule 6 and 7 were implemented. They weren't implemented correctly. 6 was going from a 1.03 to a 1.04, and schedule 7 is moving from 1.20 to 1.35. This was just an oversight. And then Ms. Fletcher, upon looking at her budget and looking at the cost for her part-time staff, has requested that we move them from $10 an hour to $12 an hour to be more competitive with staff. On page 36 in the notes, it indicated we are increasing substitute janitors from $8 an hour to $13 an hour. And we don't have very many of them, but when we do, sometimes they're long-term. $8 was page 37, the LPN schedule. Again, we just added at the bottom the chart for the 2 columns labeled. Page 8, ROTC, when we originally submitted it, we had not adjusted this particular schedule for the 2% increase that was approved for every employee. So that's what this particular item is. Page 54, we are under the manager. We are removing manager of instructional support. This particular position was moved to the teacher salary schedule. And I believe
I have a motion by Mrs. Lopez, second by myself. Any public comment? Any board comment? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Item D, to receive monthly budget to actual report for all major funds for the period through August 31st, 2025.
Again, this month we are reporting on the same funds: the general fund, the 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, the salary supplement fund, the 2021 construction fund, the city covered in land and facilities, and the hurricane recovery fund. Activity for the month ending August 31st includes the general fund, as indicated on page 3. We have received 11.8% of the revenue budgeted for a total of $13,657,000. Of this amount, $13.2 million is the minimum foundation program funding. And as indicated on page 20 of the statement, 14.2 of the expenditures budgeted have been expended or obligated for a total of $23,281,000. In the 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, revenue earned totaled $7,091, and as of August 31st, there are no expenditures. This is normal for this fund. And the salary supplement fund, as indicated on page 22, we have earned $600, and no expenditures have been incurred at the
All right. Item E, to receive a financial report on Hurricane Ida response and recovery to date, Mrs. Johnson.
So Hurricane Ida, the amount expended and encumbered for Hurricane Ida expenditures through August 31st was $156,587,000. FEMA reimbursements of $1,131,157 were received in August of 2025. The total aggregate reimbursement from FEMA is $69,916,019, and of this amount received, $19,916,019 was submitted to Hancock Whitney as payment of interest and principal on the hurricane loan. The total amount submitted for reimbursement and the total amount obligated by FEMA as of August 31st is $85,441,259.
Thank you very much for that. Item 4, transportation. To receive a report of the transportation events from the previous month, Mr. Chris Arnold.
We recently, on September 2nd, held a professional development day at Central Lafourche. We reviewed district expectations and protocols when it comes to transportation. Drivers were also afforded some time to complete some of the mandated or mandatory trainings that are required, like the ethics training, the mandatory reporter, safe schools training such as bus discipline or bus management for children. I think to the classroom, we do many lessons on classroom management with teachers, but when it comes to the bus, essentially a classroom on wheels that I feel as though we can surely stress some management techniques and protocols to implement on the buses to make those a more calm environment for everyone, a safe environment. So we did, they were assigned also a fire extinguisher course on safe schools as well. So some relevant trainings relevant to what they do on a daily basis. Personnel-wise, we're still staffed at 95 drivers and 8 monitors. The attendance has been exceptional. We just recently acknowledged 66 of those individuals for perfect attendance for the month of August, and we still had a large group with only like 1 absence. So when you even look at those individuals, attendance as a whole has been great, and it helps. It's a big deal to us and to our families. And then the drivers are getting more and more used to the tablets on their buses with the technology components to those. We've been getting a lot of feedback. I'm probably going to give you more than you care to know, but I was actually on the phone with Terrebonne's supervisor earlier today regarding bus registration that they utilize on a yearly basis. So this year, every student was routed for a bus, even though we know not every student rides a bus. So as the days have been gone by, our drivers have been providing us more and more feedback as, hey, you had Mr. Phil's routed for bus service, but he does not ride the bus, so we can kind of take him off our roster so that our timing can become more consistent. Those are some big deals to us and to obviously families waiting on buses as well. So attendance, up and back to attendance. The attendance piece has really aids in our success on a daily basis. That's the gist of what's going on in transportation.
I just want to say thank you for, I know I've had a couple of parents call me and I've directed them to you and they've called me back and said how you got on the problem, fixed it where you could and solved it other ways. So thank you for being fast on that. That's all.
I didn't have any calls.
I can echo that because, you kind of see things, unfortunately, you see people go to social media with their gripes, but when I see those things, I try and, rein them in and say, reach out and let's handle it. And every time I've reached out, you've been just immediately responsive. And then within 24 to 48 hours, come back with a full report as to what was found and how it was addressed. And so I really appreciate your follow through on all of those things and your commitment to safety for all involved.
Thank you very much for what you do. Also, thanks for the individual who sent out the information, posted it, and I actually read it while I was on vacation. all the bus drivers' names with perfect attendance.
Yeah.
So, and for the school board members who actually responded, thank you.
Yes.
Because, I think everybody that looks at Facebook or our website should see that, yes, our school board members are reading it, and I don't normally respond, but this time I decided to respond, and, feel good about it. So, thank you, I don't know which one was y'all, Ms. Thank you very much. But, besides that, y'all have a safe trip home. Be careful, go to your loved ones, hopefully they still your loved ones. And, meeting is adjourned.